Ready?
Yep.
What's up, guys? We are Throwing the Leather. I'm Justin,
Corey.
and I feel like I say this almost every time we go off for like 3 weeks, but we're back. It's been since we've done like an actual episode, probably almost a month
Yeah.
by
Life gets
now.
in the way.
It does, yeah. I mean, it's been crazy. So we're back now though, and we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, we haven't done one since UFC 261, which may have been the best card I've ever watched.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That was great.
It was amazing. You had the two fights before the title fights. Smith Crute, which was a great fight to watch. Anthony Smith looked phenomenal. That jab was amazing, and he killed Crute's leg. And then the
Yeah,
very
it was
next
very
fight, well, I'm sure you guys have seen the Chris Weidman Uriah Hall fight by now. Bad,
Yeah.
bad. It was as bad a leg injury as you're getting. It was literally the same injury he did to happen when he fought Anderson Silva, like 8 years ago almost. So
And it was just as bad to see the second time.
I think what made it worse, he tried to stand on it. Like when Silva did it,
Oh.
he just went right down.
Yeah.
Weidman tried to stand on it. That
Yeah,
was brutal.
And he just was like, just dropped. Yeah, it was gross.
It was. I mean, it's never not bad to watch that, but I feel like this was especially bad because of how he tried to stand on it. And
Yeah. Now, in Anderson's fight, his leg, if you go back and watch it, actually wrapped around Weidman's
Yeah.
leg.
he did,
Now,
yeah.
Weidman didn't do that. He just
snapped.
It snapped, but he came back this way and stepped, and it went. Oof. That was what got me.
And
Oh.
and then the replays they kept showing. I was like, all right, we saw it. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. And
But
Uriah Hall became the first fighter in UFC history to not throw a punch or a kick and win
win.
the fight.
obviously he wasn't happy with it. I mean, you saw him. He
Yeah.
was just distraught, and you got to be. I mean, it's not fun to win a fight like that, but
And it's not fun to see that happen.
it's.
Like, and was it like a? I don't think it was a major check either. He just kind of threw his leg up, like.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah,
It was as brutal.
One of those things that happen.
Yeah, but prayers up for Weidman. Hopefully he does get back. He says he wants to fight again. Not so sure if that's going to happen and if it even be a good idea for it to happen,
Yeah.
given the gravity of the situation. But
Man, Anderson came back,
yeah, Anderson probably shouldn't even have come back from that.
and you just got to think like what's going to go through his head.
He says he wants to come back though, but he's definitely not even going to be start training again until gotta be early next year.
At least.
This year he's on the shelf. I mean, he will have crutches and a cast on until probably summer almost. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know exactly when, but it wasn't pretty. I can't imagine he's going to be back.
I did see the X-rays. He put the X-rays on.
Yeah, it was
Twitter.
bad.
Yeah, he did the before and after. Of
It was bad.
The bone and then the rod and screws.
I'd say the earliest he's back, if he does come back, is. I mean, Anderson was out, what, a little over a year?
Yeah.
About 13 months, so.
And will it be
I
worth
mean,
it?
yeah, that's another thing. Because Anderson, at least when he came back, was only on a 2-fight losing streak. He was still among the best in the sport. Weidman's not that level anymore.
No.
So I think it's a lot of things he's gonna have to go over with himself, with his family, with his team. I wouldn't mind seeing him back. You know, it wouldn't be something I'd be upset to see,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he's got to do his best for him
Yeah, for sure.
and his health and stuff, because it was a nasty injury.
Definitely was.
And then in the first of 3 title fights, which were all so entertaining to watch, Valentina Shevchenko did Valentina Shevchenko things and absolutely dominated Jessica Andrade.
And the way nobody thought she would either.
No,
Wrestling.
yeah, exactly. That was Andrade's big thing. They were saying to get Shevchenko up against the cage and just kind of slam her down,
Yeah.
and she didn't even get a chance to do
No,
that.
It was complete domination.
Which I knew it was going to be. I said in my prediction, okay, maybe Andrade that she would give her, not maybe, she probably would give her the biggest challenge at flyweight, but there's nobody in that division who's giving Valentina a challenge. There's just not.
I don't think I've ever seen like 2 women like dominate as like everybody, where nobody's given them like
The only people who have given
tough
them
fight.
the only ones who have given them a tough fight since they started dominating is literally each other.
Each other, yeah.
Amanda and
Dana
Valentina.
said, no, that fight will not happen.
I think he knows because Valentina could beat Amanda, and he doesn't want Amanda to lose.
She's got 2 belts, she can give up one.
I mean, I don't.
She has lost before. It's not like she's Ronda, who was undefeated and
Exactly.
had that, whole thing.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's a fight that's obviously very winnable for either one. It's also very losable for either one. I don't even know if losable is a word, but because they're both so good that either one can lose to each other at any given time.
At some point, you have to make that fight.
It doesn't. I mean, they announced today officially that Nunes is fighting Juliana Pena in August. Once she beats her, not if, when, it's got to be next. If I'm Valentina, I'm sitting on the shelf till Amanda beats Pena.
Because who else is gonna?
There's literally nobody at 125 for Valentina to fight. There's nobody.
No.
There's not one fight that makes sense.
They're just gonna keep fighting like lesser opponents.
Same with Amanda.
Same
I
thing
mean,
that's gonna happen. It's gonna be domination every time.
there's no fight that really makes sense for either one of them at any of the three weight classes they're dominating that makes sense either than each other.
She was 93% of total strikes.
That's just
93. She was 7 of 7 on takedowns.
Yeah, that's insane. There's nobody at 125 beating her. Who's doing better than that? The only person in the women's divisions that can beat her is Amanda, and the same goes for Amanda. That Valentina's the only person who can beat her.
Yep.
The fight just makes sense. I know they're 2-0, but you could argue, or Amanda's 2-0, but you can really argue they're 1-1, and that Valentina won the second fight. So, in my opinion, that clearly makes the most sense. It has made the most sense for like 2 years now, and it's going to keep making the most sense. But all they're doing in the meantime is just racking up title defenses and taking home paychecks.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a super fight.
100%, probably the biggest fight in the history of the women's divisions.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you do that like early next year.
Yeah. I mean, obviously people will say, "Oh, well, Ronda sold over 1 million and Amanda never came close headlining." Right. But in terms of impact, in terms of competitive, like a competitive aspect, clearly that would be the biggest fight in the history of the women's divisions.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, for a casual, obviously, it would be Ronda. And I don't mean to call anyone casual in like a derogatory term, but it would be a Ronda fight. But for any really diehard fan, it's clearly the biggest fight.
The UFC put Ronda like.
Yeah.
Her fights weren't even that good.
No. I mean,
they just made her out to be like.
Because she was untouchable. Because no one knew how to solve takedown armbar. It was the same thing like Brock Lesnar, takedown and hammer fist. Ronda was takedown and armbar.
As soon as you get her like a few punches in on Ronda.
Holly Holm, yeah.
Like she quits.
Holly showed that. Well, Holly exposed that, and Amanda capitalized on that even more. Amanda's beatdown of Ronda was worse than Holly's. Way worse.
I think so.
Way worse.
Yeah.
She was out on her feet.
Yeah.
That was just.
Holly Holm that was just like it was quick.
Holly's was shocking, and it sucks because Holly never regained footing completely after she lost the belt to Miesha Tate.
No.
I mean, she did win some nice fights, fought for belt 2 more times after that, I think, but she never really 3 times after 3, excuse me, but never really regained the level of domination. Yeah. Not even domination, but the level of just how she was.
Yeah.
I can't think of the right word, but she just unfortunately, but she's still good. It's a crazy sport. And then, of course, the biggest fight. Well, not the biggest fight, but the biggest knockout.
Of the night.
Doug Rose.
Well, I don't even know if it's of the night either. Most shocking?
I would say, yeah, probably. Yeah. Man, what a knockout. What a knockout.
I was obviously nervous for this fight.
I was too. We were both team
with
Team Rose.
But I didn't see that coming.
No, I saw if Rose was going to win. If Rose was going to win, I saw a decision or maybe a submission. I did not see a first round minute 15 head kick knockout.
No, I did not see that.
For either woman. I didn't think Zhang Weili was going to do that either. I just did not expect that to happen at all.
I had decision the whole
Yeah, I thought whoever was going to win decision.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Rose via decision, but man, Doug Rose, and like DC or Rogan, one of them said, when she wins titles, she wins titles. There's no boring aspect to Doug Rose winning a belt. I mean, first Joanna fight, knockout. Zhang Weili, knockout.
Yeah.
And she kept saying, "I'm the best.
I love that.
I'm the best."
I love that.
Bruce Buffer was introducing her. She was going, "I'm the best. I'm the best.
I've watched that video on Twitter probably like 15 times.
She's not wrong though. I mean, she's clearly the best 115-pound fighter on the planet.
And then after the fight, she
Kept saying I'm the best, and Pat Barry,
Pat
he
Barry's-
lost. He's like, "You're the best ever." We've
Yeah.
been saying that for years. That was funny, man.
Yeah.
That was a good moment.
yeah, and then the whole the interview with Joe, that was
Yeah,
I
that
watched
almost made me cry.
I loved that. I watched that probably like the whole thing.
That almost made me cry. It was just a good night for Rose. Although our next predictions wouldn't be as sweet, but man, it was good to see Rose win like that. It
Yeah,
really
and
was. There wasn't that many strikes thrown.
No,
I mean,
there
it wasn't a
that
long
many
fight.
stats, available.
My favorite, like, I've seen so many great sporting events. I'm a Penn Stater. I was there in 2016 when they beat Ohio State. I've seen some awesome events live, like the Red Sox winning the World Series a couple times. I don't know if I've ever seen anything as good as seeing Rose win the belt, and then we all jumped up yelling Thug Rose.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything will match that. That was just
That was
great.
That was up there in my top 5.
that was amazing.
Yeah, endings, finishes.
It honestly, like, the card was so good at that point that I was like, how is the main event gonna top that? And then Kamaru Usman knocked out Jorge Masvidal, and it topped that.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way this is. We both had decisions for this fight.
Yeah.
And
Well, I thought Masvidal, you guys know, up until the day of the fight, I was, Usman's going to dominate. It's not going to be very close.
Yep.
And then I was like, I want to make one thing clear. The entire time my head was like Usman, but my heart said Masvidal, and I just went with Jorge. I did not expect that. I don't think anybody expected that.
No, I mean, I went with Masvidal 100%.
I don't think
I figured, give him-
full camp
give him
and
full
yeah,
camp.
I
Oh,
thought
yes,
okay.
It'll be a better fight. Maybe he can, get a decision or clip him, whatever. Nope.
I knew it was over because Masvidal through the first round and then a couple seconds before he got knocked out, he was hands down clowning like Anderson did against Weidman in their first fight, and I was like, he's got to stop this. 5 seconds later, he was unconscious.
Yeah,
It-
he hit him with.
I don't know who's beating Usman at 170. I really don't. I don't think anybody.
I don't.
The only person who's going to give him a fight is Colby, and even then, I don't think Colby's going to beat him.
That's it. That's the.
And he doesn't. I don't think he wants Colby. He said if it makes sense, but he said he wants. Ali Abdulaziz said maybe Chiesa's next. How does that make more sense than Colby? I mean, I don't like Colby. That's no secret. But come on, like,
He has to get a shot.
he's clearly he gave Usman the toughest fight of his career. He's clearly next.
Yeah, and that's why they don't. He doesn't want it. That's why he doesn't want that fight because
Exactly, because he knows what Colby can do.
he knows.
But I still don't think Colby's going to win. I mean, Usman, before he had this striking skill set, finished Colby. What's he going to do now that he's this good? I don't see Colby
Yeah,
winning. I see it being competitive, but
He really is like leaps and bounds getting better every fight.
it's scary. I've never seen a fighter improve so much every fight than I've seen Usman. It's
Yeah.
honestly scary.
Like he's gonna have to get a super fight after this.
He
Like,
said
that's the only.
he said he's watching UFC 263 and said if Vittori wins, maybe that because he wouldn't fight Adesanya.
They're
African brothers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean not actual, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he also saying if Leon looks good, that's next. See, that would be a fight I would. I'd say okay, makes a little more sense than Colby because he's on this big, well, not technically win streak anymore because his last fight was no contest, but like 8 or 9 fights before that. And then if he beats Nate, then he said if Nate looks good, Nate would make sense.
I'd like to see that fight.
Honestly, okay, so this is gonna sound really, really stupid, but Colby's last fight was a win over Woodley, who was ranked like 5th or 6th at the time, and who obviously is nowhere near as good as he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
If Nate beats Leon, who's a top contender, unbeaten in how many of his previous fights, that does make a little bit of sense. They'd both be on a 1-fight win streak, and Nate's would be over a top guy, whereas Colby's isn't.
Yeah.
The only thing Colby would have is saying that he gave Usman a tough fight.
Yeah.
So,
Now, would you, thinking matchups wise, Usman says, well, give me Diaz if he wins. And then,
my only thing is I don't know if Nate would win.
you don't think he'd beat Edwards?
No, I mean Usman. No, I think he probably could beat Leon. I mean, Nate.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if Usman said, I want Nate Diaz, I don't know if the UFC does that.
Ooh, I don't know. That brings in a lot of money. That's a bigger money fight than Colby.
But would you do Diaz Colby?
No, because then who's Usman going to fight?
Well, he's gonna fight the winner because Dana's already said Colby's got the next.
I would say if I don't know, it's tough. I think no matter what, Colby should be next. The only case scenario would be if Nate impressively beats Leon
Yeah, if he knocks him out, like
or chokes him or
does
something like
in the
that.
First round, like
Not even first round. I mean, if he just makes it real competitive and then finishes him, then you're talking maybe let's do
yeah,
Nate and Usman next. But I still think Colby's got that next title shot. But then you got to look at what if Wonder Boy beats Gilbert in July. What about Wonder Boy? Because I mean, who's going to sit here and say he doesn't deserve a shot at the belt?
I mean, it really, I don't think anybody's gonna beat Usman at this point.
No, I don't either. But I think Wonder Boy poses an interesting fight
Oh yeah.
with his striking skill set, which is really tough to beat.
Mhm.
I think he's going to beat Gilbert, personally.
I don't know.
It's going to be tough though. I mean, it's a toss up, and I'm not really officially predicting that yet. We got a lot of time left to go before I predict that, but I think that's going to be more interesting than McGregor and Poirier.
That fight.
Yeah, I'm looking more forward to that.
Yeah, this McGregor Poirier can either go
It's going to go either way.
really good or
Connor's saying he predicts an impressive knockout. He said that last time, and he got knocked out himself.
yeah.
Just fight, man. Like, I mean, I know he's got to get this talking persona back, but like someone I saw really hurt his game was going to boxing because it made him sort of more flat-footed and not as fluid as he was before.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, he definitely looks different than he did before. I mean, when he fought Eddie, that was the peak of his career. If he stayed after that, he probably could have won some more.
Mm-hmm.
But
So just throwing this out, if Usman, let's say Usman gets past Covington, his next title fight,
right,
and then say Nate Diaz has a good performance, the UFC says, hey, do you want a shot?
if he wins or loses, though.
Diaz, if he wins.
Oh, okay, if he wins,
If he
okay.
wins and they say, hey, do you want to, what do you think about an Usman fight after Covington?
Another thing is, I don't think Nate's interested in titles.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta,
I mean,
does he? I mean, that's going to be a money fight, though.
exactly. And Leon, I feel like Usman would be a bigger fight than Leon.
Yeah. So, but looking like for like a super fight.
That's a big fight. And what about Nick too? I mean, he's coming back. I mean, he's not going to fight a top guy. I'm
Yeah,
predicting
that's-
maybe Carlos Condit or Robbie Lawler. I think he's going to fight one of those
Do you
guys.
think he would move up to middleweight, Usman?
Only if Vittori or Whitaker holds that belt. He's not moving up if Adesanya does.
What if it wasn't for the title? What if it was just like a?
I doubt it. I think he's only going to go up for a belt.
Because I'm thinking Whitaker and Usman.
That would be bigger if it was a super fight. I think Whitaker could win that fight.
And that would be a great fight.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be one of my dream fights right now.
That would be a really good fight.
I mean, with the way Whitaker's been looking and the way Usman's been looking, both of those guys have been getting progressively better and better as their fights go on. That'd be a very winnable fight for either guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd be a massive, like, imagine, say Adesanya beats Vittori, which more than likely I'd predict that's probably going to happen. But then again, I don't know, so I'm not going to go prediction, but say he beats Vittori. And Whitaker obviously will get the next shot after that, and Whitaker beats Adesanya. Do you do Usman Whitaker next for the middleweight title? I personally would.
That would be nuts.
And then imagine Whitaker turns back Adesanya and Usman back to back. Then he just skyrockets up the pound for pound list.
Exactly.
Which I think, no offense to John Jones, I think Usman should be one right now, though. Usman's fought 3 times since John Jones' last fight.
Yeah.
He's defended his belt 3 times since John Jones has last been in the octagon.
We'll have to do our.
Pound for pound, update it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do that right now. I mean, mine's not going to be that difficult to change. I gotta see if I still have mine written down.
I don't
Hang
know
on.
where mine is.
I know I still have mine somewhere. I know I didn't get rid of it. Yeah, my current pound for pound list. Actually, never mind. Actually, yeah, my list isn't changing.
It's not gonna change at all.
No. Well, the only thing I would change is Usman to 1 and John Jones to 2. That's the only thing I would change. Everything else I'd keep the same. Because Ngannou I'd keep at 3, Volkanovski I'd keep at 4, Blachowicz at 5, Adesanya at 6, Poirier at 7, Stipe at 8, Figueiredo at 9, Holloway at 10, Yan at 11, Whitaker at 12, Gaethje at 13, Sterling at 14. And I'd put Chandler over Oliveira at 15. I'm not that. I want to say I'm not that impressed with Charles Oliveira, but I don't think he's beating Michael Chandler.
No.
I don't.
Yeah, mine wouldn't change either.
Yeah.
Well, actually, mine would change. I would have Usman at 1, Ngannou at 2, Jones at 3.
All right. I'm not gonna rip on that one too much, but
It's just for the fact that John Jones hasn't fought.
yeah, inactivity's a big deal. He's going on a year and what, a year and like 4 months, a year and 3 months.
Like,
It's been about a year and 3 months since he's
figure out
last
what
fought.
you're doing, you know.
I mean, Usman's been a heck of a lot. Usman's probably the most active champion. Well, definitely in the men's divisions, he's the most active champion.
Oh yeah,
Not even close.
and that's why I think if he would go to 1, and I would have Ngannou drop down to 2.
Usman should be at 1. Like the UFC still has him at 2. I think he should be at 1. I mean, the guy's just been more active than John Jones. Since Usman's fought 3 times in less than a year.
Yeah.
Fought in July, fought in March, and then
He's
in
gotten better
February, and then in April.
And better and better.
Yeah, he's just on a rocket ship to the top of the UFC. And I don't want to say I doubted him because I didn't. Like I was like he probably will beat Masvidal, but I'm not going against him again unless he fights Whitaker or Wonderboy. That'd be like the only fight that even Wonderboy. I don't know. I think I have to start going with my head over anything.
Yeah.
But Whitaker, I think that's a very winnable fight for either guy.
That would be an awesome fight.
Usman's huge for
He really is.
for 170. He's huge.
Speaking of huge,
Last weekend,
we
Yuri,
might have an up and coming new light
no doubt,
heavyweight champion.
Yuri Prochazka is going to be the champion one day. It's not. I don't think it's a matter of if. I think it's a matter of when.
He destroyed him.
I feel bad for Dominic Reyes because he's been on a really tough stretch lately. But man,
Like he went from like fighting John Jones to getting clean
and-
knocked out.
in beating John Jones,
Yeah, well, you know, clean knocked out by this guy.
and he got knocked, pretty bad by Blachowicz too. All of this one was real bad. This one he's face down, completely unconscious.
Yeah.
Yuri's a problem, man.
Yo.
I think if he fixed a little bit of his game, like
Yeah.
maybe a little more defense, a little tighter defense, like how he fought tonight, I think he could beat Blachowicz. Or not tonight, last weekend. He could beat Jan.
I think so.
I think the next fight to make is him and Alexander Rakic. Winner fights the winner of Blachowicz and Teixeira.
Yeah, I think he's got to get one more fight before he gets a title fight.
Yeah. I mean, although I don't think I'd be that mad if he fought after the winner of Blachowicz and Teixeira.
That would be his That would be his 3rd fight.
I don't think I'd hate that. I mean, you can't sit here and like the same thing like with the Michael Chandler situation. Like, you mean to tell me Michael Chandler's not one of the, if not the best lightweight in the world, like right now that's active?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
So they have him right now at number 2.
I
in
agree
the
with
rankings.
that. I think he's better than Rakic. I mean, another thing you have to look at is, both of their previous fights, like Rakic's last fight was pretty boring against Santos, and Prochazka's out here knocking dudes out left and right, impressively
Yeah.
beating guys. Like Rakic
So-
didn't impressively beat Santos.
And speaking of Jan and Teixeira, they just announced that fight.
Yeah, for September. Yeah, that's gonna be a great fight, man. Glover, you gotta be happy for Glover. He's one of those fighters you're not allowed to dislike.
2 vets. Done
2 guys
a
who are
lot-
like 40.
lot of experience.
Yeah, Glover deserves this though, and he could win. It's not an easily winnable, but it's a winnable fight for both guys.
Yeah, it can go either way.
Yeah.
But
Obviously, I don't have my prediction for that yet. That's in September, so we got a little
yeah,
bit till that
we got a ways
happens.
to go, but
Yeah.
he's a monster.
He's scary. He's so good.
Like,
He's so good.
I watched it and I'm saying to myself, this dude is a problem. Like he's
Yeah.
gonna be a champ like very soon.
He's as big a problem as there is in mixed martial arts right now.
Like he took a couple shots and I think
Reyes did hurt him
get
now.
hurt,
He was definitely hurt.
but it really didn't bother him at all, and he kind of just walked through it,
Yeah.
which was surprising. But
Although I don't know if there's a lot of guys you can do that with, like Blachowicz. I don't know if you could just walk through
that's
it.
what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. I'm watching. I'm like, well, he needs to, he could take his shot, but he's got to be careful.
Yeah, because you take too many of them, and at some point you're going to take one that you're not going to take. And,
Yeah.
But what a performance from Yuri Prochazka last weekend. What a performance. And then this weekend, another really good fight night card. I mean, like, really good. I mean, people are looking at the main event saying, "Oh, well, forget the main event for a second. The rest of the main card is loaded. Donald Cerrone and Alex Morono. That's going to be a banger. Neil versus Neil.
Yeah.
Neil Magny and Jeff Neal. Maurice Green and Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Diego Ferreira and Gregor Gillespie. That's such a sleeper fight. I don't know if people are sleeping on that. And Amanda Ribas and Angela Hill. Like, these are fights that probably could have been on a pay-per-view card.
Yeah.
Like, that's just...
It's getting to be where, like, fight nights are all...
The fight nights UFC's been putting on as of late have just been insane.
Yeah, they're going to be...
I'm when this comes on, was it 10 o'clock to start? Probably?
It says 8, but I think that's...
Well, no, it's probably the main card will start at 8. So 8
yeah,
o'clock...
The main card is 8.
8 o'clock, I'll be in front of my TV or wherever, and I'm just sitting back and enjoying this one because this is going to be a banger.
Yeah, Cerrone, what did he say earlier? And was it yesterday or today?
I think it was probably yesterday.
That he said that he was so fired up to fight Diego Sanchez, and now
Yeah, he's still fired up though, and he's like angry. So
Moreno's going to get all of his frustrations. So
I think Cowboy would have beat Diego bad. That's probably good that fight didn't happen.
yeah, and if anybody doesn't know, Diego Sanchez got released.
It's tough to see.
What, Monday?
Something like that. Maybe before last week. I think it was before last week.
So like a week before his fight, he was released from the UFC.
And he's saying that he fears the UFC is going to come after him and try to take his life or something. I think he said.
I think Diego Sanchez took too many shots to the head.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. I'm not going to sit here and kick him while he's down or make jokes about it, but I hope he gets the help he needs.
I don't know why, but for some reason I thought that like very early on in his career.
That he was different like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching Tough One last night, and he was kind of like meditating, yoga like that, but...
He's a different person.
Yeah, I feel bad for him because I don't want to say it's his coach who's gotten him to be this way or his coach or Joshua Fabia is, but I feel bad for Diego because he's definitely not in the right place right now, and I hope he gets the help that he needs.
Yeah. Like,
so prayers up for Diego Sanchez too.
Why do you think that the UFC is going to come and try to
kill him? That's not. He's not in the right spot.
Somebody needs to like
help him.
Like get to him.
Yeah.
Check on him or something.
So, prayers up for Diego Sanchez. Hope he's all right. I want to speak another thing real quick. Last night, the PFL card, Verdum won. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not. No.
Verdum was fighting Renan Ferreira, I believe, and the official was a TKO for Ferreira. But if you watch the replay, Verdum had him in a tight triangle, and he went like this. Ferreira tapped on his shoulder, I believe, twice, and that was a clear tap. And obviously went in as a TKO because then Verdum let up a little bit, and Ferreira started raining down shots. And Keith Peterson, who probably smelled like alcohol and cigarettes again. Don't tell Dominic Cruz that one. He called a stop, TKO, and Ferreira got the win. But looking at the replay, Verdum won, so hopefully they overturn that to a no contest, or just straight up. I mean, they probably won't straight up give him the win, even though he did win the fight. I mean, the guy tapped. I don't know if they could even do that.
I'm not sure.
No contest then. I mean, it just was a clear. Anybody who watched that can tell that Verdum should have won that bout. So it's just an absolute.
They've gotten some.
I feel bad. Feel bad for Verdum because he should have won that fight. He did win that fight. Not should have. He did, but.
They've got some weird decisions recently in a lot of these other promotions.
Yeah.
Like,
one is just.
Eddie had his overturned to a no contest.
And then the next fight that he had, he lost. But how one scores, they score their bouts as in one entire fight.
Yeah. So
there's just they don't do the 10-point must system. Even still, I think Eddie should have won. I don't like the way that they score. I don't think it's. I mean, listen, obviously the 10-point must system's flawed too, but this one's real flawed. I mean, Eddie should have won that fight. I know he got hurt a little bit, but the majority of that fight, Eddie was up against the clinch, holding him. And you can say, oh, he didn't do anything. Yeah, but he was controlling the fight still.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for Eddie because he should have won that fight. In my eyes, he did win that fight. But
the rules and the scoring is
it's different.
Always been an issue.
Yeah, and it's always going to be an issue. But
whatever organization, the UFC's always had an issue with it too.
Yeah, they still do.
Dana's always had a problem with
the officiating and the judges.
And the scoring is.
And then, speaking of other promotions, tonight Bellator 258, I believe it is 258. Archuleta and Pettis in the main event for the bantamweight belt. That's going to be such a good fight. I'm excited for that one. I'm more excited for Rumble's return. He's fighting Jose Augusto. Supposed to be Yoel Romero, but I think we all kind of felt that would be too good to be true.
Yoel.
He failed a pre-fight, like he didn't get medical clearance to fight. I think they said it was an eye issue, but I'm still excited for Rumble to come back, though. Regardless of who he's fighting, I'm still excited for him to come back. I think that's going to be an amazing return for Rumble, even though it's not against Romero, but regardless, I'm super, super psyched for that one. And can't wait for it. Can't wait for it. So, before we get into any more UFC stuff for like next week's pay-per-view and stuff, tomorrow night, I don't know if you know, Canelo Alvarez is fighting Billy Joe Saunders for the super middleweight championship. And I say if you don't know because a lot of people who claim to be boxing fans are too focused on the Paul brothers. And you know me, I don't like them. I am open about that. I am not a fan of either one of them. I think they are making a joke of the sport. And there are more people, I think, to blame than just them. But I don't know what can be said that hasn't already. I don't like what they're doing to the sport.
Yeah,
I don't.
This whole thing yesterday turned into a big circus.
And no doubt in my mind that it was probably planned.
As soon as I saw it and heard about it, I'm like, it's, they had something planned, whatever. Whether or not Paul decided to steal his hat and then take, kind of a beating.
Yeah. I mean, that, like Logan Paul said, it was real. It was real. I mean, maybe it was real, but the dude took Floyd's hat, said, got your hat. You're an adult. You're a grown man doing that. Another grown man who is one of the greatest boxers of all time. At that point, you deserve to get pieced up.
For sure. And like he kept saying, make the match. He keeps calling people out to fight. He's calling out McGregor. He's calling out Diaz. He's calling out Cormier.
Call out some boxers.
Fight somebody then.
Like, you want to be a boxer. You want your respect. You beat a YouTuber, a retired basketball player, and Ben Askren.
And then let's say a retired basketball player who was 5'7".
Yeah, who, like, I didn't matter who it was. It was, at the end of the day, it was just a basketball player. And then Ben Askren, who was a grappler and a wrestler, almost 40, coming off hip replacement.
Who's never thrown a punch.
Exactly. I mean, he was always clowned for how bad his boxing was.
He came out and said, I did it for the money, clearly.
Ben?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you knew that was going to happen.
If that fight wasn't fixed, then it was probably one of the worst fights I've ever seen in my life. If not the worst fight I've ever seen in my life. Because the referee never even...
Ben said he was okay, and he got his hands up, started going, and the referee was like, nah, we're done.
He never even gave him a standing 9 count.
It was a sham. It was a joke. And then Triller's suing people who illegally streamed it.
It wasn't even worth illegally streaming it.
It
wasn't even worth watching.
I think they have to realize that if you want to be a big promotion and put on pay-per-view events, you got to get used to that. I mean, it's just one of those things that happens. I mean,
but it's not even like
it's not. I wouldn't even.
It was a complete joke.
Like, I'm not even gonna bother watching it illegally. Like, I'm not gonna waste my time. Like, that's time in my life I can't get back. I'm not gonna waste it watching that garbage.
If you go back and watch Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, you mean to tell me if Robbie Lawler didn't put him out in 4-ounce gloves that Jake Paul did? Come on.
And then he stood up.
Come on.
Completely fine.
Got his hands up. Started going forward, and the
referee said, never gave him a count, never gave him the standing 9, nothing, and just turned around and said, fight's over. That's it.
I mean, Ben had to be disappointed, but he did walk home $1 million richer, so I mean...
He didn't care at all.
No.
He did not care if he won that fight or if he lost that fight.
But I think Jake Paul's got to relax because one day he's going to meet somebody in the ring who's going to be able to put him unconscious.
And speaking of all this, that, during the last pay-per-view, he went to UFC 61.
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier did...
He confronted him.
Confront him in the audience. And he did say, he went up and he said, don't play with me. you know,
because DC doesn't play games,
And you can tell
like Woodley doesn't, and Usman, who he's calling out now too for
you could
whatever
tell
reason.
he was not. He was scared, and then
Yeah.
when his bodyguards jumped up in front of him,
Can't go anywhere without his bodyguards.
that's when Paul started talking to Cormier.
Yeah.
When his bodyguards were next to him.
Now DC might be a wrestler too. That might be his background discipline, but DC can knock him out. I mean, DC knocked out Stipe. DC knocked out Volkan Oezdemir. DC's got hands,
And like you said, he doesn't. He said, "Don't play." He said, "He's not one of these, you know."
he's not one of these YouTubers. One of these.
He's a
Yeah.
He's
He's a fighter. It's what he does. And same with Woodley. Like Woodley, if he got in there in a ring with Jake Paul, he's going to sleep. Jake Paul.
And he said, "If you want to fight me in the UFC."
I mean, first off, Woodley's not even under contract with the UFC anymore. He's not with them anymore.
Not Cormier. Cormier
Yeah.
said, "Fight me in the cage." He said,
He doesn't want to get in the cage because he knows he's going to lose.
He goes, "I'm going to fight you," and he goes, "I will break your head."
Yeah, like, and now he's calling out Usman, and Usman's like, "I'll send you back to the Disney Channel." Like,
that is the stupidest thing. He's calling out anybody who has a name.
yeah, except boxers.
No, but
Usman striking obviously is no joke. He would knock him out even in a ring at this
he's
point.
only calling people out just to get out into the headline, like for us to sit here and talk about him. That's
And
it.
I also want to put something out here. I'm personally not going to talk about these guys again on this podcast because this is exactly what these clowns want, and I'm not gonna.
It's just go back and if you have Twitter or anything,
Yeah,
Google what Michael Bisping said in his tweet, because
yeah,
he that's all you need to know.
yeah.
Plain and simple.
These guys, like, I'm not talking Bennett. I'm talking DC, Usman, Woodley, Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor. Notice how McGregor hasn't responded to any of it
No.
because he's not even going to feed into it. He doesn't care because McGregor's here and Jake Paul's here. He's not going to feed into that stuff.
He did tweet something yesterday.
About Floyd, though.
Yeah.
It was more about Floyd.
Yeah.
But Jake,
But he tweeted about how Paul's making Floyd money.
he is. Wait. Do you mean like Floyd kind of money,
No,
or making Floyd and like giving Floyd money? Like,
Floyd needs him to make money.
okay, yeah. Well, I don't think I'd say that, but it helps.
I mean, Floyd don't even need money.
Well, I mean, you got these 12-year-old YouTubers who 12-year-old who watch YouTube, and they're out here doing the Fortnite dances in the middle of the street, watching Jake
Yeah.
Paul say, "I'm a boxing fan." What's a level change then?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Shut up. You're not a friggin' boxing fan.
Yeah.
Like, who's Canelo? I don't know who he is. He's the best boxer on the planet, you tool. That's who he is.
Well, it's the same way with Mayweather. When Mayweather started, his undefeated, all this.
Yeah.
People were like, "I'm a Mayweather fan." Or like,
Yeah.
"Oh, tell me the last 5 fights he's fought.
Exactly. Like, who's Triple G? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
You know
like-
Gennady Golovkin? Oh, yeah, I know him. Like, people are just... It's bringing out all of these fake boxing fans, and it's ruining the sport, but it's not only them who you have to blame. You have to blame the promoters who don't put the big fights together. You know the last time there was an undisputed heavyweight champion?
Tyson.
Lennox Lewis in 2000.
That was after Tyson.
Yeah, 2000. I wasn't even born yet. My parents weren't even married yet.
Yeah.
Like, it's been 21 years since boxing has last had an undisputed champion. Never an undisputed heavyweight champion. Never in the 4-belt era has there been an undisputed heavyweight champion.
Well, that's a problem. It's too many.
One belt. You need one belt.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. I mean, do you mean to tell me that Vladimir Klitschko couldn't have been an undisputed heavyweight champion?
I think he could have been.
I mean, same with, like, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, who hopefully will be fighting for the undisputed title. I mean, we can only hope. And, like, I don't know. It's maddening.
Everybody's greedy.
It's
That's the
maddening.
problem. Boxing has become.
It always has been greedy. It's just
Oh,
gotten
for sure.
way,
But
way
it's just gotten
worse.
way worse,
Yeah. I mean, at least there are some undisputed champions.
And that slime ball who represents Mayweather. He doesn't represent him, but he's always with him. I don't know if that's one of the promoters.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even watch enough boxing to tell you all the big promoters. Like, I know, like,
just
Eddie
see that
Hearn,
guy-
Bob
no,
Arum,
he
but...
was the same guy who was bouncing around with him when he fought McGregor. He was always on stage. With
Oh,
Mayweather.
he's got the beard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wonder... I don't know who that guy is
He's
either.
a slime ball.
And don't call me casual. I'm not a big boxing fan like I am MMA. I mean, I watch boxing, but I'm not as big a fan as I am of MMA. So sorry if I don't know all the promoters and stuff, but
It's the biggest embarrassment, and they're not the only ones. Like you said, Mike Tyson's becoming an embarrassment.
Evander Holyfield
Fighting Evander Holyfield again.
Chad Ochocinco says he wants to fight on the Mayweather-Paul undercard.
Well, they do. They have an exhibition. It's
They brought Frank Mir into it too. I forgot.
yeah. It's getting to be so embarrassing for the sport. Oscar De La Hoya is the biggest embarrassment.
I hope he comes back and gets knocked out. He's
You got all these kids that are coming up that are legit fighters.
That's what I'm saying. Like there are so many good up and coming boxers. Like, and you
get
just
nothing from them.
No.
Nothing.
Nope. And it's like Shakur Stevenson. That kid's a real deal.
Yeah.
But you're hearing more about Jake Paul and Logan Paul than him.
Yeah.
I mean,
sad.
even more than Terrence Crawford at this point. And I don't know. I'll never for the life of me understand what appeal they have that guys like Shakur Stevenson and even Lomachenko don't have. Even Teofimo at this point. I mean, which is mind-boggling, but
Phenomenal.
he's so good. Now he's fighting on Triller. That's where he's fighting now.
Everyone runs to the money.
But I mean, at least he's fighting the big guys. I mean, at least he fought and beat Lomachenko.
Yeah.
I mean, you got like Devin Haney and Tank Davis who aren't like they're calling each other out, and Ryan Garcia and stuff not fighting each other. But I just want to see the big.
biggest problem with boxing is nobody wants to fight each other.
No, I mean there are some that do and that will, but it's few and far between. Like Canelo, for example. Canelo just wants to box. That man just wants to fight.
Yeah.
Like Billy Joe Saunders was complaining that the ring size was too small, and Eddie Hearn said to Canelo, "I was gonna be a 22-foot ring." He goes, "No problem." Like Canelo literally just wants to box. That's all he wants to do. And he said he can't wait to punch Billy Joe Saunders in the face. I feel bad for Billy Joe Saunders because if Canelo is mad and wants to beat you, this fight's not going the distance. It's about to be over. And there are these kids out here who claim to be boxing fans but can't tell you who Canelo Alvarez is and can't tell you who Triple G is and probably can't say who Andy Ruiz is. Maybe not even Tyson Fury. But they're like, oh, Jake Paul, man, that guy's so good.
Jake Paul.
Give me $1 million. I will gladly step in the ring with Jake Paul. If you're listening, send me the contract. I will gladly step in the ring with you.
Yeah. I mean, that's a nice payday, but yeah, boxing was. This is not. I don't even consider this boxing.
It's freak show fights. It's like back in Pride when they'd put like the 7-foot dudes up with like the 4-footers and stuff. It's even that was more of an actual fight than this stuff. I mean, at least those guys were professionals. Like I have as much experience against professional boxers as Jake Paul. And you might say, why do you say that? Because none of the guys he has fought are professional boxers.
Nope.
Not one of them. Not one of them. Like, I mean, I can't stand Logan either, but at least he's fighting a boxer.
Well,
I mean,
we'll see how that turns out.
he's not. I don't think he's gonna beat him, but like at least he's fighting a boxer.
I think it's gonna be.
If he beats Floyd, I don't think I'll ever watch boxing again.
It's gonna be something's gonna happen. It's gonna be staged. Everyone's gonna walk out with money, and that's all they care about.
I feel bad for whoever illegally streams or buys that. I will be doing neither because it's not even worth my time. I have better things to do on a Sunday night than watch that.
Is that when it's on Sunday?
Yeah, it's on a Sunday because the Teofimo Lopez fight's on the night before, and they're not going to coincide them.
Why not? Come on, guys.
Because there's an actual fight people are going to watch that night. Like it's an actual world title fight with one of the best boxers in the sport. But it's a shame what's happening in the boxing. It's dying a very slow but painful death.
Yep.
And if Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are going to fight each other, and then the contract is supposedly signed, but like they're going to fight. That's my little rant on boxing. You won't hear much about the Paul brothers, if anything, anymore on this
Unless they
channel.
Get hands broke.
Yeah, like once Floyd beats Logan, then you'll hear.
And that's not even
Yeah, and
kind of worth talking
I don't.
about.
Yeah, we might do a little bit like, oh hey, by the way, Floyd beat Logan. Next, like, you're not going to hear much about those clowns on this channel, and
Sorry.
yeah, we're sticking to our lane, which is YouTube. They should be doing the same. Go back to the Disney Channel. Go back to the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, not the Triller Fight Club or whatever that is. Are they trying to be Brad Pitt, First World Fight Club? Don't talk about Fight Club. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about that more or, bash them or anything. It's because I don't need to say anything to like bash them or embarrass them because what they're doing themselves is just doing it. So back to talking about real fights. Next weekend, UFC 262, Oliveira and Chandler. Even though Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards is now at 263, this
Yeah.
card is still going to be a good card. It's still on paper. It's so good.
Yeah.
Um,
I was just looking at the fight
you got
card.
Oliveira, Chandler, Ferguson, Dariush, which is a new co-main. Hermanson, Shabazian. Poor Edmund Shabazian, man. They're throwing him right to the wolves.
Yeah.
Kaylin Chukagian and Vivian Arujo. I might say her name wrong. I'm sorry. Shane Burgos and Edson Barboza. Honestly, all the fights on this card is a banger.
Yeah.
Every one of them. And
I'm more excited for the main.
oh yeah, me
And
too.
I don't even think the main's gonna be like the best fight on this card because I think Chandler's gonna roll through Oliveira.
See, the thing with Oliveira is he has the big win streak, but only two big names to coincide with it, and only one elite name to coincide with it. Although a win streak's a win streak, and it should get you a title fight. I'm not saying that. Like, he definitely deserves the title fight. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. But so does Chandler.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, say, oh, he has one fight in the UFC, right? But it's against a top guy. And let's not act like Chandler hasn't been beating top guys his entire career
Look at the
in
past.
Bellator. I mean, the people who say Chandler doesn't deserve the title shot are the same ones who only watch the UFC and don't watch other organizations. Because if they did, then they know he deserves it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of
I mean, that
bouts you can do after. Like, there's a lot of interesting.
I'm really hoping Chandler wins and then Poirier wins because I want to see Chandler and Poirier.
Yeah. There's a lot of.
I wouldn't even mind Chandler and Gaethje. That's the fight I wanted to see before Chandler got the title fight. Wanted to see that for the number one contender after Oliveira and Poirier, but you can't blame Dustin for taking the money with Conor.
Oh no.
Because if he wins, he's guaranteed a title shot. And even if he loses, he's not going to go down that far on the ladder.
Yeah. I think Chandler.
I'm not going to do my final predictions yet, but Chandler, I've been saying, is going to be a champion since he came in the UFC. So that one, I'm not moving on. But everything else, I got to look at a little bit.
I don't know. I think if obviously if Poirier wins, beats McGregor again, it's going to be Poirier Chandler.
No doubt. There's no doubt. Honestly, even if Conor wins, he might get the title shot. Just
Poirier?
because he's Conor. If he
Oh,
beats,
well.
yeah. If Conor beats Poirier, I'd like to see Gaethje and Chandler for the title.
Yeah. I think that's
Such a banger.
yeah. That would be the fight I would make.
I wish that fight happened even for a non-title bout. I just wanted to see that one, but
And then Poirier's rate. I don't think he moves too far. I think he's still in line.
I mean, he's
there.
number one contender now. Even if he loses to Conor, I'd put him at maybe 3 or 4.
I don't even think I'd drop him that far.
Yeah, I wouldn't drop
I'd
him.
drop him to like 2.
Yeah, I really wouldn't. But unless he gets like dominated and flattened, which I don't think's gonna happen.
No.
I mean, he definitely could improve on some areas from the first fight, and if he does, and then comes out the same way, I mean, I just don't think Conor has that eye of the tiger like he used to.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
But
This fight interests me. Dariush Ferguson.
it's scary, man. Because Beneil is such a monster lately,
Yeah.
and Tony's not, and it has me really scared because I don't want Tony to lose, but I don't want Beneil to lose either.
But here's the okay, we're at 9. Dariush is ranked 9. Ferguson's 5.
I think Dariush is better than number 9, though.
So if he wins, and where do you see him jumping? Do you think
Who's the rest? It's Hooker.
Hooker's ahead of him? Dos Anjos, McGregor, and then Ferguson at 5.
You definitely put him. I think you drop Tony from the top. Well, obviously, you'll drop Tony from the top 5 if he loses.
I think he might drop from the top. Like
I wouldn't mind
I think
reversing.
he might go to like 11.
Maybe reverse spots. Put Beneil at 5 and El Kukui at 9.
You think he's still ahead of Paul Felder at 10?
It depends on what Tony comes out. Like, say he comes out as El Kukui in a very close fight, then maybe, because his last 2 fights weren't close. They were just beatdowns. Sadly, it makes me pains me to say that. I still have no idea who's going to win that fight. I'm going to have to wait till next weekend to call that one. Same with everything else. The only one I'm sure on is I'm picking Chandler. That's the only one I'm sure on.
But there's you could do a lot with if Dariush wins, you can go Dariush Dos Anjos.
That'd be a good one, but you also have to look at Makachev, who wants to fight Gaethje, but he's ranked too low yet to fight Gaethje, in my opinion.
Yeah, that might be the next fight to make. Dariush.
And Makachev?
Yeah. I don't know. I can see. Let's see. Dariush wins. He goes to.
So here's another good question you have though. What if Connor loses?
He's gonna drop out.
You see, is it Cowboys ranked 15 at lightweight.
Yeah. Yes.
That confuses. I don't get that. I mean, I love Cowboy, but I don't understand why he's ranked.
I don't either.
He hasn't won a fight since May of 2019. I mean, it was at lightweight, but still, I mean, he's not. Yeah, he's lost or drew or
Yeah.
no contest all of his last couple fights. But what about Kevin? Where does Kevin Lee fit in all this? I mean,
Yeah.
same with Iaquinta. Is he coming back? Like, he hasn't fought since 2019 either. I mean, Kevin Lee tore his ACL, and so I mean that I understand, but
But there's a lot you can do here, and there's a lot that can happen. Like, what if McGregor wins? Where does he go?
if McGregor wins and Chandler wins, he'll fight for the belt. I don't see Oliveira and McGregor.
What if Dariush wins? Oliveira loses.
Lightweight's really stacked right now, and it's really confusing.
You can just go like, would McGregor fight Dariush? Would that be considered?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, here's me. If McGregor wins versus Poirier,
Yeah,
even if he knocks him out in the first round, I'm giving Gaethje the title against Chandler. And then,
yeah,
if
I don't hate
McGregor
that.
wants a title fight, then you basically have to prove it. You have to prove it. Even though you're McGregor, you sell whatever.
I mean, he sells, but he hasn't proven himself
No,
since
you
he
have to
fought
prove
Eddie
it.
Alvarez.
So then you fight, maybe Dariush. Who knows? Ferguson's win. Maybe you fight Ferguson. You need to prove.
Yeah, I like that.
You need
I
to
like
prove
that one.
before you get another title shot.
McNuggets against El Kukui. I think that fight would make Tony Ferguson turn into El Kukui again, big time.
If Tony needs some.
I hope Tony, because he says that he's back in the right mindset. He was training with Freddie Roach and stuff. So I'm really hoping it's El Kukui that comes back, because if it is, it's going to be a bad night for Beneil Dariush.
Yeah, like there's so much that can happen. There's so many places.
That fight, I'm going to literally be shaking the entire fight. That one's going to have me really like, oh my God.
And then the same with the middleweight. Not so much if.
I mean, it's not like title implications, but it's Hermanson.
Like if Hermanson wins, he's in the mix.
Yeah. If Shabazian loses, and his hype train might be officially dead.
And then if he wins, I think they would probably just flip flop rankings.
Yeah. Yeah.
If Shabazian does win, or if Hermanson wins, I don't know. I mean, Till's out, Brunson.
Yeah, where's Till? Is he coming? Well, I mean, he broke his collarbone, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of, well, no injuries, but one division that does interest me right now is heavyweight. I mean, there's nothing going on there.
No, nothing.
I wouldn't mind seeing Stipe and Curtis Blades.
Did they just announce
There's
heavyweight?
so Cyril Gane's fighting Volkov in June,
Yeah.
but that's like the only big heavyweight fight that's been announced. Walt Harris is fighting Marcin Tybura, I believe, but like there's no other really big like.
No.
So still, is it going to be Ngannou and Jones or Ngannou and Lewis? At this
the
point,
thing.
I just hope it's Derek. Like, I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. Like,
Yeah,
make
you
the
can't-
fighter down. I
you
mean,
can't
John
get
Jones left.
Jones.
He left his management team,
Did he?
so people are saying he might go with Ali Abdulaziz. If he does, then it'll be maybe like a week after that, and the fight will be made.
Yeah.
That would be good for John Jones, but I doubt he'll go there. But you never know.
See what happens. But there's a lot of
Yeah, there's so many opportunities.
interesting,
And if Cyril Gane beats Volkov, is he in the mix then?
go back and forth.
Yeah, it's an interesting time in the UFC right now. I mean, we've been blessed with some great cards so far this year. Every pay-per-view card this year has actually been pretty much worth the money.
Yep.
I mean, 57 was a good card. 58 was a good card. 59 was okay. It was okay, 59.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
60 was good, and 61 was the best I've ever paid for.
the 62, you got Chandler, Oliveira, and then the next Fight Night, Font, Garbrandt. And then 63, Adesanya, Vittori. And then,
Korean Zombie and Dan Ige.
that's the next
What
fight.
a
Night.
fight! What a fight!
And then the next is the Gun. That'll be another fight. Night.
Gon Volkov, and then McGregor Poirier, right?
Yeah, when is that? June? Yeah, and then it'll be July. Yeah. Is that going to be early July?
Click load more. The date's already up.
I don't think it's up there.
No, I could have swore it was. I was gonna say the date. The date they had the date. I don't know exactly what. I think it's like the middle, July 10th.
That's right.
July 10th.
Yeah.
July 10th. So early mid-July.
Yeah. So that's right around where
Yeah.
they would do it.
So I think this covered pretty much everything going on. Little rant,
Yeah.
but
We'll do our.
predictions next Saturday.
Yeah. That's gonna be. I can't wait. A lot of.
What a card next Saturday too. So we do have a bit of a opportunity available. I don't want to. I mean, I guess technical editor we'll call it. Somebody to pretty much manage the camera and all that for our live shows and stuff like nothing too crazy. So this is going to be a really bad job description, but we can't we can't pay you. I hate to laugh at that because that sounds really really shitty. But
Sorry.
yeah, my bad. We can't pay you. We don't have money, but what we can offer you is this: free pay-per-views. So when we do live shows for the pay-per-views, you're welcome to stay and watch the show with us. Meaning the pay-per-views, the UFC cards. So if you're interested, send us a resume or an application, whatever, to our.
Emails.
Should we create an application?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we'll create an application, and we will post it on our Facebook, our Twitter, and our Instagram. All that will be linked in the description. Our email will be linked in the description. If you're interested, we should have that up probably by today. We'll work on
like I
that.
said, if you're going to school for
Broadcasting, so like myself.
Get some experience.
Yeah, again, it's nothing big, but I mean it's a free pay-per-view. So if you're into the UFC and want to watch it, I mean, you got that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone's still weary with COVID. We're both fully vaccinated. So there's that. If that's something you guys are worried about, don't be. So again, if you're interested in becoming our technical editor, I don't want to call it volunteer, because that sounds.
Intern.
Sure. Yes. Intern. You get free pay-per-views. So
And you
yeah.
get to hang out with us.
Exactly. We're fun. We have a fun time watching the fights.
Yeah.
We're fun. So send us. We'll have the application on. We'll post it on our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter later today. Have that up. Send it to us, and we'll have that available for maybe like a week, maybe a little less, considering about a week. Yeah, probably till next Friday we'll have it available, and we'll pick someone and we'll let you guys know. So that's about that. So until next time, we are Throwing the Leather. I'm Justin,
I'm Corey.
and thank you guys for checking us out. And I probably should have said this before we close it out, but for most of our shows from now on, we're gonna probably be exclusively on YouTube, I'd imagine. Primarily. So you can find new episodes, live shows, all of that, pretty much on our YouTube channel. So right here, right on YouTube. So that's about that. So yeah.